What's going on, swim fans? We're here at the beach. It's a beautiful day for an open water swim, and we're gonna get in the water. But before we do that, I'm gonna share with you guys 5 open water swimming secrets so you can swim faster and smarter than ever before in your open water race. Now, the tips that I'm gonna share in this video are for any level open water swimmer. So whether you're a beginner, an Ironman swimmer, or you're a more experienced athlete trying to take that performance to the next level, this is the right video for you. Make sure you watch until the very end because I'm gonna share a few different bonus tips for you guys from my own personal experience and coaching thousands of other swimmers around the world. Now, if you guys are new here, what's going on? My name is Ferris, co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro, and here we help share the latest tips and tricks to improve your performance and health both in and out of the water. So if you guys are new here, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and let me know what questions you guys have down below in the comments. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first open water swimming tip for you guys is to focus on pace work. Now, pace work is a lot different in open water as compared to the swimming pool. Let me explain that for you guys. The biggest difference between pool pacing and open water swimming is not only the duration that you're holding that pace, but also your technique. In the pool, you can swim with a little bit more power. You know you're gonna have a break every 25 or 50 meters. When you go to open water swimming, you have to train your body to not only swim for hundreds of meters, if not kilometers at a time, but also using a slightly different technique. So when you swim in open water, you're using more of a hip-driven freestyle, meaning you're rotating with that rotational momentum driven by your hips. You're not really kicking a lot. If anything, in the pool, if you're training for a 100 or 200 meter freestyle or a 50 meter freestyle, you're gonna be working your legs at their maximum effort. When you go to open water, the pace that you're going to hold is really dependent on your ability to maintain this rotational momentum driven by your hips. Another way to make sure you're on pace with the goal times that you're trying to hit is using a smartwatch. And speaking of watches, I wanna give a huge shout out to Garmin for sponsoring today's video. If you're in the market for a smartwatch, the Garmin Forerunner 945 is great for tracking your swims and tons of other fitness activities. This is actually the watch that I'm wearing right now, and I've been testing this watch out for the last few months. It's an absolute powerhouse, and if you're a data nerd, you're gonna absolutely love it. You can track pool and open water swims, of course, and the watch will also measure your distance, pace, stroke efficiency, calories, and has special underwater heart rate tracking. I love seeing my heart rate when I swim in the pool or in open water. Of course, you can sync all of your workouts to MySwimPro with Garmin Sync. And in the MySwimPro app, you can see all of your workouts and open water swims shown with a beautiful open water map. Also, all your swims are counted towards the MySwimPro monthly distance challenges, and we sometimes give out prizes for our most active community members on that leaderboard. The Garmin watch is also handy for distance alerts, so you don't have to stop and check your watch during long swims. All you have to do is set the distance, and you get those pace alerts to keep you on track. It also tracks your VO2 max, your stress level, and it even tells you how much each workout impacts your aerobic and anaerobic fitness. That's pretty cool. And it has built-in safety tracking features to give you a little bit of peace of mind if you're swimming out there. All of those cool features come with 2 weeks of battery life and music capabilities, and I think we have a winner. The 2 weeks of battery life is absolutely amazing. Head over to the link in the description below and make sure you grab your Garmin Forerunner 945. My second open water swimming tip is actually something that you do completely out of the water, and that's doing a dynamic warm-up before you even get started in swimming. Now, this applies both in the pool as well as training for open water and racing in the pool and racing in open water. I've seen so many swimmers screw this up. So many swimmers just go and enter the water cold with cold muscles, and that hurts you for 2 reasons. Number one, it increases your chance of injury. By doing a dynamic warm-up, you get the blood flowing, you activate the central nervous system, and really get your body and your mind firing for what it's about to do. It's about to perform. Now, the second reason this is a problem is that it decreases your performance. If you hit the water cold and you're not warmed up, you're not gonna get the right muscle activation. So we're gonna go ahead and do a sample dynamic warm-up on the beach that you guys can apply certain elements of this before you do a swim workout, both in the pool as well as in the open water. And you can apply this on a daily basis to your workout routine and also take it to a competition as well. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I like to do when I warm up is get the heart rate elevated. So if you're just waking up and your body is really, really tight, it's okay to jump around a little bit, get some jumping jacks in. I'm gonna do 10 jumping jacks and I'm gonna do some arm circles. Here we go. Woo! You can do a little bit of jogging in place, you can jump around a little bit, just get the heart rate flowing, get your body activated. Now I'm gonna do some arm circles. After doing these arm circles, I'm gonna do some dynamic arm swings. And now I'm gonna do a little bit of core activation. So I'm gonna do what I like to call these hip circles. I like to do this before every single swim, regardless if it's in the morning, in the afternoon, or even in open water or in the pool. Great way to activate the body, get the blood flowing, activate your central nervous system. All right, now that we're all warmed up, tip number 3, it's all about our gear. Now we already talked about the Garmin smartwatch, that's super important, we got that checked, but it's really important that you actually try out all of the different gear that you're gonna use when you go for an open water swim, especially a race. If you're a beginner triathlete or you're doing an open water race, it's not the best idea to go ahead and try out a new piece of equipment on race day. So really make sure, I've got all my gear right here. So I've got my goggles, my swim cap. If you're gonna double cap, make sure you know that. You've got a towel. If you did a warm up and you're all moist and wet and it's sunny, if you notice we came to the shade to put on the wetsuit, make sure you dry yourself off if you're sweating. Makes it way easier to put on a wetsuit. Of course, we've got our wetsuit right here. We have our open water safety buoy, and I have my nutrition and hydration. So I have my banana, which I'm actually going to put inside of my open water buoy, along with a water bottle. So if you're gonna try any type of nutrition, gels, peanut butter sandwich, salmon sandwich, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you give that a try in your training before you actually go to the competition. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put on the wetsuit, and I'm gonna walk through how I put it on and share some tips along the way. All right, tip number 1, when we're putting on the wetsuit, obviously you wanna have a suit on underneath, make sure that's all tied up. Also, if you are wearing the smartwatch, I actually recommend taking this off before you put the wetsuit on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Give me a shout out for that tan line, give that video a like. But so make sure you have the zipper in the back, all the way zipped down. And you also wanna make sure that the suit is completely dry and your body is also dry. Remember, we're in the shade, it's a beautiful sunny day. If I was putting this on in the sun, I would be sweating and it would take twice as long. So make sure you give yourself some time, make sure the suit is dry, and go ahead and start 1 foot at a time and slide your foot in there. If you guys wanna see a full video on how to put on a wetsuit and how to take off a wetsuit in the most efficient manner, make sure you check out that video. It will be linked down below in the description. Let's go ahead and put this suit on. All right, so we're about midway through putting the suit on. Now if you notice, I have a lot of excess fabric material, neoprene, at the bottom. You wanna make sure you pull that up before pulling above your waist. So if you see all this excess material right here, I'm not gonna be able to pull the suit up all the way. So make sure you pull that up before you get carried away with moving the suit above your hips. Pull it up, millimeter by millimeter, centimeter by centimeter. It's okay if it takes you 5 to 10 minutes to put this suit on. Better to do it in a controlled manner than rush and put it on, and that'll actually tear the suit. Okay, so at this point, we're about 75% of the way there. I've got to stick my arms in. Now, before you stick your arms in, it's super important that you've pulled the suit up into your crotch as much as possible. Make sure there's not much excess hanging on at the bottom of the suit, because it's gonna make it really hard to stick your arms up and it's gonna restrict your shoulders. So make sure you pull it up all the way to about your chest line before you stick your arms in. And now I think we're pretty high up, and now I'm gonna stick my arms in. Okay, so we have the wetsuit almost 100% on. The final step is to zip it up. I've got my Garmin watch on. Zip it up. There we go. Woo, boy! Love that feeling when you get the wetsuit on. You feel like a superhero. Spider-Man is ready to swim. I've got my buoy attached to me, and now I'm gonna put on my cap and goggles. We're gonna go ahead and get right in. The next swim tip is in the water. Let's go. number 4 is all about open water drafting. When you're swimming in open water, it's kind of like NASCAR, Formula One. You have the opportunity to swim next to other swimmers and actually catch their draft. Now, drafting can actually make you up to 30% faster, which it sounds absolutely ridiculous. So the way you do this, you actually want to position yourself either right behind or on the hip or ankles of the swimmer in front of you. Now, it's really important to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. The worst thing you can do is follow another swimmer off course and in the wrong direction. You don't want that. So make sure you're moving in the right direction. If you're swimming in a pack of swimmers, try and position yourself, not immediately behind the swimmer, but sort of off to the side and get as close as you can, positioning your upper body between the ankles and the hips of the swimmer that you're drafting. Now, ideally, you want to be moving with a swimmer that's about your pace. Now, it should feel pretty comfortable to maintain that position drafting them, and that way you're conserving energy. And you can also focus on your technique, make sure you're grabbing clean water, collect that draft, save your energy, and when it comes time to make your move, whether it's at the end of the race or midway through and you want to join another pack or you want to break off, that way you're going to have all that energy saved up by catching that draft. So it's really important to position yourself between the ankles and the hips of the swimmer that you're trying to draft, and make sure you're not immediately behind them because it's going to interfere with your catch and you're going to really catch their bubbles. And so you don't want that. You want to be right off to the side. Ideally, you follow some kind of a V formation, so it's not only one swimmer that you're following in a pack, but you're actually following a number of swimmers. And if you watch any elite level open water swimming, that's the name of the game. It's all about catching a draft, save 30% of your energy, and make sure you make the move by saving that energy early on in the race and charge home with your full power at the finish. Woo! Just completed my open water swim. That was a lot of fun. Tip number 5 is to make sure you know your race course. Make sure you know the environment that you're going to on race day, before race day, so that way you're positioned in the best possible way for success. One of the biggest mistakes that swimmers make in the open water is not being familiar with the actual race course. Now, this is a huge mistake because this is something that you can easily prepare for, which ties into my bonus tip. More on that in just a little bit. But when you're preparing for an open water race, the day before, the week before, the month before, you should get familiar with what the course looks like. Today, my open water swim was relatively simple. We were staying close to the shore. There's a little island. We swam sort of around, halfway around the island, and then we came back. Pretty simple. But if you're going to a race that has maybe a triangle formation, or maybe you're swimming with the current, against the current, oftentimes a lot of these races will actually mark out where the currents are. You can go on forums, you can look at other videos, and you can talk to other swimmers who have done the course. They're familiar with all the different elements, and that'll put your mind to ease knowing what the course is going to look like, what it's going to feel like, and that ties in to my bonus tips. The final bonus tip for you guys is to de-risk your open water race as much as possible. We touched on this a little bit in point number 5 about understanding the race course, but the different ways that you can de-risk yourself are getting your body and your mind more familiar with all the different variables that are going to come into play on race day. A few of those variables include the water temperature. So if you're used to training in only a pool or a hot lake and you're going to an environment that's going to be a lot colder or warmer, that's something you definitely want to practice ahead of time. A few other variables could be something like swimming in open water where you can't see the bottom compared to swimming in a pool where you swim looking at the black line. Another variable is visibility. Can you see and spot in the open water compared to in the pool? These are things that you can actually practice in the pool. Another variable is swimming in the wash, or people call it the washing machine. Having all these different waves and all these other swimmers. If you train with multiple swimmers, try and put everyone in the same lane, try and experience what it feels like, and that's another way that you can de-risk your open water race. Finally, equipment. This is something that's really important to make sure you practice ahead of time. This includes your nutrition, your hydration. If you're gonna eat a banana, make sure you have that with you and you plan out how you're going to eat on race day. Now that concludes all of these different tips. Let me know what other questions you guys have down below in the comments, or if you have additional open water tips, let us know there as well. If you guys haven't already downloaded the MySwimPro app, get started with a personalized training program available for beginners, intermediate, all the way to advanced level swimmers for open water, pool swimming, IM training, and everything in between. We've got a plan for you, so make sure you take your swimming to the next level and swim with a structured training program. Final shout out to the MySwimPro Facebook group. We have over 20,000 swimmers from over 100 countries that are in there trying to take their swimming to the next level. So that sounds like something you'd be interested in. It's absolutely free. Make sure you join that group. Link down below in the description. I'll see you guys at the next video, and happy swimming.